Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lesson. Today we have something really exciting because this episode is going to change how you think about English grammar completely. We are not giving you a long, complicated list of rules to memorize. We are giving you 10 powerful grammar rules that cover the most important patterns in English.
Yes, and here is the promise we're making to you today. If you truly understand these 10 rules, not just know them on paper, but genuinely understand and use them, your English will immediately sound more accurate, more natural, and more impressive to anyone who listens to you.
These 10 rules are the ones that separate learners who sound good from learners who sound amazing. They're the rules that native speakers and advanced English users apply naturally without even thinking about them.
And, as always, we are going to explain each one simply and clearly. We'll show you the wrong version, the right version, why it matters, and where you'll use it in real life. Let us get straight into it.
Rule number 1. Subject and verb must always agree.
This means the verb in your sentence must match the subject. If the subject is singular, the verb must be in its singular form. If the subject is plural, the verb must be in its plural form. They must always agree with each other.
So the mistake sounds like this. She go to school every day, or they goes to the market on Sundays. Both are wrong because the subject and verb do not agree.
The correct versions are, she goes to school every day, goes is singular to match she, and they go to the market on Sundays. Go is plural to match they.
The rule for simple present tense is clean and simple. For I, you, we, they, use the base form of the verb. For he, she, it, add s or es to the verb. That small s or es is the agreement marker, and it matters every single time.
Mistake to avoid. The most common error is forgetting the S for he, she, or it. She work here is wrong. She works here is correct. That one small letter makes a big difference to how natural and accurate your English sounds.
Where is this rule used? Everywhere. Every single sentence in simple present tense, every time you describe a habit, a fact, or a routine about someone or something, subject-verb agreement is the foundation of every English sentence.
Rule number 2. Use the right article, a, an, or the.
Articles are tiny words, but they carry important meaning. A and an are used when you mention something for the first time or when you are talking about any one of a general group. The is used when both the speaker and the listener know exactly which specific thing is being talked about.
So the mistake sounds like this. I saw a cat. The cat was sitting on a wall. Then the cat jumped. Do you see how the changes to the once we both know which specific cat we're talking about? The first mention uses a. Every mention after that uses the because now we both know which one.
Another important part of this rule. Use an before words that begin with a vowel sound. An apple, an hour, an honest person. Use a before words that begin with a consonant sound. A cat, a university, a European country.
Notice that university and European start with vowel letters, but the sound at the beginning is a consonant sound. University sounds like it starts with Y. European sounds like it starts with Y too, so they take a, not an.
Notice that university and European start with vowel letters, but the sound at the beginning is a consonant sound. University sounds like it starts with Y. European sounds like it starts with Y too, so they take a, not an.
Mistake to avoid. Saying a apple or a hour. Both are wrong because apple and hour begin with vowel sounds. The correct forms are an apple and an hour.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you use a noun in a sentence, articles appear more than almost any other word in English. Getting them right makes your English sound immediately more polished and precise.
Rule number 8. Use the correct pronoun case.
Pronouns change their form depending on whether they are the subject of a sentence or the object of a sentence. Subject pronouns do the action. Object pronouns receive the action or come after prepositions.
The subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, they. The object pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, them.
The mistake sounds like this. Me and my friend went to the market, or the teacher gave the books to he and I. Both are wrong.
The correct versions are my friend and I went to the market. I is the subject doing the going, and the teacher gave the books to him and me. Him and me are objects receiving the books and coming after the preposition to.
A simple test for this mistake. Remove the other person from the sentence and see if it still sounds right. Me went to the market sounds wrong. I went to the market sounds right. So my friend and I is correct in that sentence.
Or the teacher gave the books to I sounds wrong. The teacher gave the books to me sounds right. So him and me is correct in that sentence.
Mistake to avoid. Using I when me is needed and using me when I is needed. The subject test, remove the other person and say the sentence, catches this mistake every single time.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you refer to yourself and another person together. This combination is very common in daily conversation, and getting the pronoun right is a clear marker of grammar accuracy.
Rule number 8. Use who for people and which or that for things.
When you add a relative clause to a sentence to give more information about a noun, the relative pronoun you use depends on whether that noun is a person or a thing.
Who is used for people. Which or that is used for things and animals in most cases. The mistake sounds like this. The man which helped me was very kind. Or, the book who I borrowed was fascinating.
The correct versions are, the man who helped me was very kind. Who, because the man is a person, and the book that I borrowed was fascinating. That, because the book is a thing.
Another important part of this rule. When the relative clause is essential to the meaning of the sentence, use that. The book that I borrowed is essential because it tells you which specific book. When the relative clause just adds extra information and could be removed, use which with a comma.
For example, my favorite book, which I have read 3 times, is on the shelf. The which clause adds extra information, but the sentence makes sense without it. If you remove it, the main meaning is still clear.
Mistake to avoid. Using which for people. Always use who for people, and remember that both that and which can be used for things, but which is preferred when the clause is non-essential and set off by commas.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you give more information about a noun in a sentence. Relative clauses are extremely common in both speaking and writing, and using the right relative pronoun immediately signals a strong command of grammar accuracy.
When you report what someone said, you do not repeat their exact words. You shift the tenses back in time and you change the pronouns to match the new speaker's situation.
So the mistake sounds like this. She said she is happy. That is wrong if she said it in the past. Or, he told me I will call you. That keeps the original tense without shifting it back.
The correct versions are, she said she was happy. Is shifts back to was in reported speech. And he told me he would call me. Will shifts back to would. And the pronoun you changes to me because now you're reporting it about yourself.
The tense shifts in reported speech follow a clear pattern. Present tenses shift to past, past simple shifts to past perfect, will shifts to would, can shifts to could, may shifts to might.
She said, I am tired becomes, she said she was tired. He said, I went yesterday becomes, he said he had gone the day before. They said, we will help becomes, they said they would help.
Mistake to avoid, keeping the original tenses without shifting them back. In reported speech, the tenses almost always shift one step further into the past to reflect that time has passed since the original words were spoken.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you report a conversation, share what someone told you, or describe what someone said. Reported speech is used constantly in daily conversation, in writing, and in professional communication.
Rule number 9. Conditional sentences follow specific patterns.
Conditional sentences talk about conditions and their results. They have an if part and a result part, and the tenses in both parts must follow specific patterns depending on whether the situation is real or imaginary.
There are 3 main conditional patterns that every learner needs to know. The first is for real and possible situations in the present or future. If plus simple present in the if clause, and will plus base verb in the result clause.
For example, if you study every day, you will improve your English. The studying is a real possible action, and the improvement is the real expected result.
The mistake sounds like this. If you will study every day, you will improve. Wrong, because will should not go in the if clause of this type. The if clause uses simple present, if you study, not if you will study.
The second pattern is for imaginary or unreal situations in the present. If plus past tense in the if clause, and would plus base verb in the result clause.
For example, if I had more time, I would learn a new language. I do not have more time. It is imaginary. So past tense, had in the if clause, and would learn in the result.
The mistake sounds like this. If I would have more time, I would learn. Wrong, because would should not appear in the if clause of this type. The if clause takes past tense. If I had, not if I would have.
The third pattern is for imaginary situations in the past, things that did not happen but you are imagining what might have been different. If plus past perfect in the if clause, and would have plus past participle in the result.
For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. I did not study hard enough. It's a past regret, so had studied in the if clause and would have passed in the result.
Mistake to avoid, putting will or would in the if clause. The if clause never takes will or would in standard conditional sentences. The if clause takes simple present for real conditions, simple past for imaginary present conditions, and past perfect for imaginary past conditions.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you talk about possibilities, hypothetical situations, past regrets, or real future plans with conditions attached. Conditionals are used constantly in English, and getting the patterns right makes your sentences sound truly advanced.
Rule number 10. Parallel structure keeps sentences balanced and clear.
This is a rule that many learners have never heard of, but it has an immediate impact on how polished and natural your English sounds. Parallel structure means that when you list items in a sentence or connect ideas with and, but, or, all the items must be in the same grammatical form.
So the mistake sounds like this. I like swimming, to run, and when I cycle. 3 activities listed, but 3 different forms. Swimming is a gerund, to run is an infinitive, and when I cycle is a clause. They are not parallel.
The correct versions would be, I like swimming, running, and cycling, all gerunds. Or, I like to swim, to run, and to cycle, all infinitives. Or, I like it when I swim, when I run, and when I cycle, all clauses. Choose one form and keep all items in that same form.
Another example. The mistake sounds like this. She is intelligent, hardworking, and she never gives up. The first 2 items are adjectives, but the third is a clause, not parallel.
The correct version is, she is intelligent, hardworking, and determined. All 3 are adjectives, parallel, balanced, and clear.
Mistake to avoid, mixing different grammatical forms in a list. When you list things, check that all items are in the same form. All nouns, all adjectives, all gerunds, all infinitives, all clauses. Whichever you choose, stay consistent throughout the list.
Where is this rule used? Anytime you make a list in a sentence, anytime you use and or but or to connect ideas of the same type. Parallel structure appears in writing, in formal speech, in presentations, and in everyday conversation. And when it's done correctly, your sentences immediately sound more elegant and more native.
Now let's take a moment to look at all 10 rules together because seeing the full picture is really powerful.
Rule 1. Subject and verb must always agree. Rule 2. Use a, an, and the correctly based on if something is specific or general and based on the sound of the following word.
Rule 3. Keep tense consistent within a story or situation. Rule 4. Never use double negatives, one negative per clause.
Rule 5. Use and est for short adjectives and more and most for long adjectives. Always use than after a comparative. Rule 6. Use subject pronouns for subjects and object pronouns for objects. Use the remove the other person test when in doubt.
Rule 7. Use who for people and which or that for things in relative clauses. Rule 8. Shift tenses and pronouns when using reported speech.
Rule 9. Follow the correct conditional patterns. Simple present and will for real conditions. Past tense and would for imaginary present conditions. Past perfect and would have for imaginary past conditions. Never put will or would in the if clause.
Rule 10. Use parallel structure in lists and connected ideas. All items in a list must be in the same grammatical form.
10 rules, each one powerful, each one used constantly in real English, and now you understand all of them.
Now let's do a quick practice. I'll give you a wrong sentence and you correct it and name the rule.
Ready? She go to work every morning.
She goes to work every morning. Rule 1. Subject-verb agreement. She is singular, so the verb needs s.
I do not know nothing about the situation.
I do not know anything about the situation. Rule 4. No double negatives. Not and nothing cannot go together. Use not with anything.
If I would have a car, I would drive to work.
If I had a car, I would drive to work. Rule 9. Conditional sentences. The if clause takes past tense, had, not would have.
The man which called me was very polite.
The man who called me was very polite. Rule 7. Use who for people, not which.
She told me she is very tired.
She told me she was very tired. Rule 8. Reported speech. Is shifts to was.
5 corrections, 5 rules applied correctly. Wonderful. Listeners, go back and try each one yourself before listening to the answers.
And this week, choose 3 of the 10 rules to focus on, the 3 you feel least confident about. Write 5 sentences every day using each of those 3 rules correctly. By the end of the week, those 3 rules will feel much more automatic and natural.
Then next week, choose 3 more. Work through all 10 this way over the coming weeks, and by the end, you will have genuinely internalized all of them.
We want to say something to everyone listening. Knowing 10 grammar rules deeply is worth far more than knowing 50 rules on the surface. Deep knowledge is what produces natural, confident English. Surface knowledge just produces more confusion.
Go deep. Practice each rule in real sentences from your own life. Notice each rule when you read and listen to English, and use each rule actively when you speak and write.
That combination of understanding, noticing, and using is what turns grammar rules into grammar mastery, and grammar mastery is what takes your English from good to amazing.
You already know these 10 rules now. The next step is entirely in your hands. Use them today, practice them this week, and watch your English transform over the coming months.
We are so proud of every one of you who made it through today. This was a packed and detailed lesson, and you took it all in. That commitment to learning is what makes the difference in the long run.